What is up, Chalk Talk Nation? Welcome back to the podcast, episode 7 with Noah Gayhart. I'm Rob Rundle, and it's exciting times. It's exciting times for us. We're starting to grow a little bit. We're moving to Twitch, Facebook Live, and yet again, still on YouTube every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, follow us on Twitter at Rob_Rundle, at Noah_Gayhart, and at Chalk Talk Nation. Be sure also to check out Noah Gayhart on Diamond Digest, where he talks about the Reds, posts articles. Baseball season is still living inside of us, and we're going to connect with everybody in the stream. Today, we're going to be talking about just a little bit about the coronavirus still, and our playoff predictions. Our playoff predictions are huge. And then we're going to talk about the future of our channel and what we plan to implement with you guys. So first and foremost, with the coronavirus still, it's important to keep these numbers down, to isolate yourself just for even a week or two, just really buy in to the whole concept. I think there's 5 or 6 states that have been on actual lockdown, and then Ohio just passed a law to mandate that everyone has a shelter or something, like they have to stay inside for an extended period of time. So just be sure to wash your hands, be careful who you interact with, because we could be carriers. The younger generation, we don't have to worry that much, but the elderly, ages 60 and up, those are the people that are vulnerable. So be sure to stay safe out there, and we'll get through this. And now we know that baseball isn't here until at least June now. So that's some news for everyone who doesn't know yet. Noah, how do you feel about that?
I mean, it sucks, but it's the right thing to have happen. Anytime that you're kind of it really just makes you appreciate, I think, a lot more, the way that our lives normally are when you have, when basically you're just stuck sitting at home all day, every day, because you don't want to go out and transmit this virus to anybody else. So I don't know. I mean, it sucks that it's going to be that long, but it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, I mean, whether or not we don't have baseball isn't really the biggest issue right now. It's all about the public health and whatnot. But, the good news is, though, and I heard about this with the Cincinnati Reds, they were talking about putting Tyler Mahle in as a 6th guy, doing a 6-man rotation, because MLB might be doing doubleheaders. I completely forgot about this. This could still be huge in play. So even if they do start in July, they could still potentially play 100 baseball games. So maybe other teams will start to implement this, and maybe what would be smart for Major League Baseball, I didn't think about this until now, Noah. Think about this. We know that Major League Baseball expanded to 26 guys. Maybe now they expand to 30 just for the season, just to give more depth. That'd be kind of unique, What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a bad idea. I think if you're going to start implementing double headers, especially consistently, because it sounds like that if they're going to do it, then it's not going to be, we'll throw in one doubleheader a week. It'll be a couple different times a week. So I think that it wouldn't surprise me if they expanded to 28 to 30, somewhere in that range, and then just let you, have, maybe you add 3 more relievers, or maybe a starting pitcher and a couple relievers. I think it would make a lot of sense. I don't know necessarily if they're going to keep the same schedule, maybe how they have to work that out as far as traveling and stuff like that goes. But I'd like to see it. I know that the Reds GM or president of baseball ops, Dick Williams, he got quoted sometime earlier this week, and it was something along the lines of, we're looking to get creative on the back end as well. So that's something we kind of talked about last week with adding games on at the end, or doing something towards the end of the season. So it sounds like there's definitely a lot up in the air for what the season might look like.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I think this could be one of the most exciting seasons, though, because, we had baseball taken away from us. When we get to dive back in, and it's a shortened season, think of the playoff atmosphere, that potential, what could happen, because you're still going to have, potentially a 5-game series, a 7-game series. That won't change. That's potentially 28 baseball games in the playoffs just for one team. So that's something to look forward to. As we kind of transition now, that's a good transition. We'll go ahead and talk about the MLB playoffs. As you know, we broke down each division from the National League East all the way to the American League West. But real quick, we do have a question. I do want to mention this. Do you think the trade deadline will be pushed back? And do you think the roster will be over 40 since there are that many games in a short time? So we'll do the first question. Do you think the trade deadline would be pushed back?
Yeah, I don't see that there's any way that you don't push it back. because if we're not going to start till June, which even then I've heard some people have said that doesn't even seem likely. Like it might even be July and just start like July 1st.
Yeah.
Then like, I would imagine they're going to push it back a little bit. Like I doubt that you're just going to be like, okay, you can play for 3 weeks and then figure out if you need anybody and trade then. Like I would imagine that they're probably going to push it back. Maybe they push it to like mid to towards the end of August and just go, then you have like, I guess a little bit over a month unless they add games. So I think that it'll get pushed back. As far as how much, I'm not sure, but I would imagine probably sometime in August.
Yeah, I'd say August is a good sweet spot right there. I'd probably say mid-August or something like that because you want to have just a little bit over a month. You still want these guys to transition into their new teams, their new roles and stuff like that, especially these guys with pillow contracts, one-year deals. This could be essential for Major League Baseball, and yet again, it could be exciting. But for the other question, if we think the roster will be over 40, I personally don't think it will be. I think that's a little too many. I think 30 is ideal because it still has that competitive edge to it, but you still do have a little bit of depth.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think that it's going to get to 40. We've seen like up until this year, actually, when the rule was changed, it's been 40 men in September. The problem with that, though, is that, I don't think that you're going to get enough playing time for those guys to really make it worth it. In the past, it's kind of been a thing like we give you 40 guys on the roster for September so you can call up maybe the veteran guys that have been around for a while so they can get MLB paychecks for a month, or you bring up some young prospects and get your kind of first look at them, let them get some MLB at bats. But I think this year, because the season's shorter, it's going to be a lot more competitive. And I don't think that you're going to find space for 40 guys in those games. So like we said about with like 30, maybe you could push it to like 32, depending on how hard they go at this doubleheader thing. But I don't see them going all the way to 40.
Yeah, I think it's more just about arms, just pitching. I don't think you really have to worry about the position players as much. I think if you have 26, it's still ideal. Like you still have the extra bench guy. But having arms in the pen and just starting, you have to save their arms. You don't want pitchers to blow out their arms, on 4 days rest instead of 5 days rest. They get into a routine, and that could, potentially damage their careers. And we don't want that just for 1 year where, this is just something that we have to deal with for the first time ever. But yeah, so let's kind of go back to what we were talking about with the MLB playoffs. So we broke down every division, NL East, NL National League Central, NL West, vice versa for the American League, and we went ahead and chose our division winners and our wild card spots. And we're going to start off with Noah and his reasons behind why he has his predictions. So I'm going to pull up his graphic right now for us. So this is Noah's predictions. Noah, do you want to talk a little bit about your reasons behind each team and why they got to that spot?
Yeah, so we can start with the wild card. So I had in the NL, I had the Cubs and the Phillies as my two teams. I didn't think that the Phillies were going to be good enough this year to outlast the Braves as far as the division went. And then, with the Cubs, is something we kind of talked about on the NL Central podcast. That you could really flip-flop out any of the Cardinals, Reds, and Cubs. I picked the Reds as my division winner this year, and I had the Cubs, I think, 2 games behind them for the wild card. So, for the NL Central teams, it's pretty, it's a toss-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. The NL West, I think, was a clear choice with the Dodgers. I think they're so head and shoulders above the rest of their division that it really didn't make a whole lot of sense to even include any of the other teams. I just don't think they're going to be that competitive. So as far as the wild card matchup goes, I have the Phillies over the Cubs. I think I'm just kind of banking a little bit more on the pitching side of things here. The Cubs bullpen kind of worries me a little bit. They lost Strope. Who knows what Kimbrel's going to be this year? They lost some other guys as well. David Phelps, I think, was one of those guys, ended up on the Brewers.
Yep.
But they just don't really have a whole lot there. And it kind of seems like pitching is really what these games are going to come down to. I think if you saw last year, the Brewers had a really good hold on that game, and then Hader comes in, he can't throw a strike, and then that leads to Trent Grisham missing a ball in right field, and then that costs him the game. And then you could say the same thing for the Nationals in the whole World Series. They basically just rode Scherzer, Strasburg, and Corbin the whole way. And so, I think that pitching is kind of, and you'll probably see that reflected in the rest of my picks as well. That's just kind of where it is. Um, so I have the Phillies over the Cubs, and then on the AL side, I have the Athletics over the Rays. It's kind of going to be a rematch of last year's wild card. I think that the Athletics as a team, I would imagine that this is probably going to be a bullpen type game for both teams. I think maybe you throw Shamanai out for an inning or two, and then kind of give maybe Jesus Luzardo and some other guys an opportunity to throw as well. For the Rays, it's probably you're looking at Morton or Snell, and then probably honestly even both of them maybe. But I think that the Athletics outlast them there. I like their offense a little bit more than what I like out of the Braves. So moving into the NLDS, I have the Dodgers over the Phillies. I don't think that's much of a question. I mean, they've got MVPs from like the last two seasons, as well as an already stacked rotation and lineup. And then I'm taking the Reds over the Braves. This is probably the most up in the air pick, I think, for me here. I'm going to take the Reds just because what I talked about with pitching, at the top of the rotation, Castillo, Bauer, and Sonny Gray, as a top three, those are all guys that could be realistically, in talks for like a Cy Young type of season. And then with the Braves, you're looking at like Soroka, and then after that, maybe Cole Hamels and Max Fried. And so, I'm just going to take
King Felix, maybe the way.
Yeah, King Felix would probably be a guy out of their pen, but the way he pitched in spring training, it was pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe if he can carry that into. I hope he does, because man, that would make us look smart because of how we talked about him. One of the first early podcasts. The ALDS, as much as I hate to do it, I'm going to pick the Astros. Because I just think they're a little bit better than the Twins. They still got Verlander and Greinke, and then they already have that good offense anyways. I mean, like we talked about before, I don't think that the Astros players are going to regress that much. And so, I think they're the real deal. The Yankees over the Athletics. Normally it's all about pitching, but I'm going to say their lineup is just it's stacked top to bottom.
Dude, especially playing potentially 3 or 4 games. Well, it would be 4 games because they're the home seed or the number 1 seed. 4 games at Yankee Stadium. Oh wait, that's the DS. So 3 games at Yankee Stadium would be brutal.
Yeah, and then you have to think about as well. So they have Garrett Cole, Tanaka, and Happ right now as their top 3. But Paxton's out 3 to 4 months with his back injury, but by the playoffs he's going to be back, so that's a 4th.
Yeah.
Domingo Armand with the 81 game suspension, he's probably gone, and obviously they lost Severino with Tommy John, but like.
Yeah, how does that work? The 81 game suspension, does that start from like when opening day was supposed to be, or when they actually play that first game?
When they play the first game, so he's not going to get just like the months taken off when the season's not even playing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then obviously, and then their bullpen's loaded as well. Chapman, Ottavino, Britton, Chad Green, and Tommy Kahnle. So moving on to the NLCS, Dodgers and Reds are my 2 there. As much as I like the Reds front 3 and the pitching staff, the Dodgers are still the Dodgers. Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, and then Walker Buehler, Kershaw, and the rest of their staff. And then I have the Yankees over the Astros, and the ALCS, kind of what I just talked about before, with the Yankees not really having a weak spot. So then for the World Series, the ultimate clash of the Titans here, it feels like. I'm going to give the edge to the Dodgers. I think that despite what the Yankees have, I think that the Dodgers might just have a little bit more.
Dude, they're so due.
That too. They are due. I feel like there's kind of going to be a chip on their shoulder as far as, we lost to the Astros in 2017. I think they're going to go out and try and prove themselves a little bit more this season. You go out, you had Mookie Betts, you had David Price. Brusdar Graterol could be a good piece out of the pen. Same thing with Blake Trinan. If they can get him back to how he pitched in 2018, that would be an insane addition. And then, like I said before, 2 MVPs in the outfield, Kershaw, Buehler, David Price, and then, Alex Wood is your 4. And then just an absolute embarrassment of riches as far as the bullpen goes. Kenley Jansen, Joe Kelly, Blake Trinan if he turns it around, Brusdar Graterol, Dylan Floro. And then the other thing that they have is a lot of young starting pitcher prospects that have kind of dipped their feet in the MLB. So you look at a guy like Dustin May or Dennis Santana. Those are guys that normally are going to be starting games that they could throw out of the back of the bullpen, and because they're only throwing an inning or 2, their stuff's going to play up. And then if you get into a situation like we kind of saw in the playoffs where games were going like 16, 17 innings from time to time, suddenly you've got 2 or 3 more starting pitchers just coming out of your bullpen than you'd otherwise have. So
Yeah.
for me, I've got the Dodgers winning. I know that it's a long-winded, whole lot of rambling,
No,
but
that's good. No,
I'll
that's
turn it
good.
back over to you, Rob.
No, that's good. The Dodgers are definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. And the interesting thing for everyone tuning in, Noah and I, we both think differently, regarding baseball and stuff. But I think it's really cool when we can come together and be in consensus with, a World Series champion, because I have the Dodgers winning the World Series as well. If you look at the American League side here, on our stream, for those listening in on the podcast, just audio only. The only difference I really had on the American League side of things was I actually had the White Sox as the number 5, getting that second wild card spot, because I just think they're going to be a sleeper. I mean, we know that they're going to be they're going to be hyped up quite a bit, but still, a lot of young raw talent. I love Yohan Moncada. I love the pitching staff with what they're implementing. If Michael Kopech can come back too, this is good for him to rehab and still get that arm healthy. He can throw the ball pretty hard. It'll be interesting to see if he can get that ball up there to 98, 99. If I was him, I'd probably see 94, at least for a year. But, him, Dylan Cease, Lucas Giolito, who had a tremendous first half last year, Dallas Keuchel, and Gio Gonzalez, who will now have time to heal up that shoulder. So this is a good starting rotation, perhaps, and they have one of the best bullpens in the American League Central. And when you get to beat up on the Royals, you get to beat up on the Tigers, you have a really good chance of getting that second wild card spot. But I do have the Oakland Athletics as that first wild card spot, and I have them beating the White Sox. I think the Oakland Athletics are due. Vice versa for the Dodgers, how they're due to win a World Series, the Athletics are due to win a wild card game. Now, with this, what I was saying before, because it was a toss-up between whether the Athletics or the Astros would win the division or not, it honestly came down to Verlander for me because he had some shoulder issues. But now that the season's being pushed back when it's crunch time, I just don't see how anyone else but the Astros can win the AL West. But the Athletics are still going to be a force to be reckoned with. They won 97 ball games in 2019 and in 2018. And I think they're going to win the wild card. Staying in the American League side of things, though, I don't think they're going to get past the Yankees. I think the Yankees are actually going to mollywop the Athletics. I think they'll sweep them. I think the Yankees are just disgusting. They really are. Just top to bottom. That's just an unbiased opinion. And they're going to be dangerous. Now, with the Twins and Astros, I think this would actually go to Game 5 because the Twins, offensively and defensively, they are stout. Max Kepler really coming into a groove. Mitch Garver exploding onto the scene in Major League Baseball, especially last year. The Astros are going to have their hands full. The Twins aren't going to go down easily like they did last year when they got swept by the Yankees. It's going to be interesting to see, but I still have the Astros coming out on top in Game 5, perhaps. The Astros are still good. Just like Noah said, I don't think they're going to regress that much. And in the ALCS, we got the Yankees and the Astros. And I have the Yankees beating the Astros in 5 games because the Yankees, like you said, they have, a chip on their shoulder as well. We move over to the National League side of things. This is where Noah and I kind of differ, which I like. You like to see some differences and some reasons why. Just like what Noah said with that National League Central, there are 4 teams that could legit win. It's going to come down to maybe even that last week. We don't know. And we don't know how the season's going to shape out. But I have the Cardinals winning the division. They're going to be the 3 seed. They're going to take on the 2 seed, the Philadelphia Phillies, in my opinion. I think this will be the time for the Phillies to really come out and win the division. I know this is probably the boldest move of all for someone to win a division. But, Harper did very well in his first year with the Phillies. JT Realmuto really in a groove. Aaron Nola, Vince Velasquez. These are guys that can really get the job done. Scott Kingery, a utility player. He can play all positions. He's going to be someone to look out for in the near future. But I do have the Cardinals beating the Phillies just because the Cardinals, they're used to these situations. Jack Flaherty's nice, and Harrison Bader, Tyler O'Neill. Even Yadier Molina. These are still guys that can get the job done. So I have them in the NLCS. For the wild card game, I have the Reds as my second wild card. I do think they make the playoffs. The only issue I have for them is really just a team chemistry thing, a team chemistry fallout. It's going to be interesting to see how they play out, especially now with a shortened season. But they are still going to be pretty dang good. They have Nick Castellanos, who they signed, Mike Moustakas. I know I'm forgetting some other guys. Shogo Akiyama. I mean, that's just solidified already with their offseason. But they also acquired Wade Miley. And then we're going to see Anthony DeSclafani, a full season from him. You know, Disco's been pretty nasty. He's got that whip down to like a 1.25. He's a sub-3 ERA pitcher, perhaps. And it's going to be interesting to see how they fare out. But I do have them losing, unfortunately, to the Braves in the wild card game. Now, the reason behind that is Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna. This team is just raw talent from top to bottom. I think they beat the Cardinals in Game 5 of the NLDS last year. Like, they spanked them. They scored like 11 runs in the first inning or something like that. So when the Braves know this is a one or done game, they're gonna come all out. And with Mike Soroka, they have some choices they can go with to pitch. So I see them going to the NLDS versus the Dodgers. And like I said before, the Dodgers are just nasty. So I have them going to the NLCS against the Cardinals. And then I have the Dodgers beating the Cardinals in 6 games. Like we said, the Dodgers are just due. So the World Series matchup, Dodgers versus Yankees, just like what Noah said. And the Dodgers, I think, will win in 6 games. So, Noah, what do you think about my predictions?
I do want to quickly correct the Braves. The Braves actually are the ones that got spanked. They gave up 10 runs in the first inning to the Cardinals in that inning.
That's embarrassing. Let's just forget I said that. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, no. But no, I like your picks as well. Obviously, we both ended up in pretty much the same place. You know, and I get, you know, I talked about, for me, like the Reds over the Braves was kind of like my biggest, you know, just taking a leap of faith type of call. And I totally get, you know, your opinion on it as well. Like Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna, you know, that's a lot to deal with. Yeah, Marcell Ozuna, who they acquired as well this offseason on a 1-year deal. So, you know, they're definitely going to be coming with a vengeance as well. You know, like I said before, I picked the Reds because I think that pitching is kind of a bit more important than the postseason than hitting. You know, with Sonny Gray, Castillo, and Bauer at the front, I think that might be just a little bit too much for the Braves, especially considering the Reds. You know, their offense really isn't a pushover either. You know, like you talked about, they added Castellanos and Moustakas. That's 60 plus home runs over the course of a season right there that they added. Suarez had a career high with 49 home runs last year. So, you know, it'll be interesting, you know, but yeah, for the most part, I definitely agree with pretty much everything you said.
Yeah. So those are our playoff predictions. So if you agree, disagree, let us know in the comments. Let us know if you have a different World Series champion. We would love to hear it. This is the whole reason why we do this. We want to engage with everyone in the baseball community and see if we can come to a consensus. You know, maybe it is a different team. Maybe you give us a reason why you think the Yankees will win the World Series. We'll be like, oh, okay, I could see a reasoning. Okay, maybe I will change my reason or my champion. But I think that's that for the playoffs. Shall we move into our the future of what our channel holds?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. So big news. We just recently started streaming MLB The Show on Twitch and YouTube. So now we have Periscope going live. We have Facebook Live on my profile. We got Twitch, which I think I just mentioned, and we still have YouTube. And so every stream that we do for the podcast will be on all platforms. For MLB The Show, it'll be Periscope, it'll be Twitch, and it'll be YouTube. I won't do Facebook Live for that, just because, I don't know, it's just kind of a little bit different. I don't want to flood my own personal friends, you know, and everything like that, because they're not everyone's a baseball fan. They don't want to see that. Mm-hmm. But with YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch, you know, it is a baseball community because we are a baseball profile. So be on the lookout for that. We do Road to the Show, Diamond Dynasty, and even online custom leagues that we're about to start. we're about to have potentially 20 people in a custom league. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I mean, we're just gonna have, I believe, we're merging with one of your friends leagues. Am I right on that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so we're gonna have about 20 guys. We're all gonna pick, we're gonna randomize some sort of draft order, play, get teams, play games. A lot of these guys also stream, so that's something to kind of look forward to. Is you're gonna be able to watch, a lot of games going on here over the next few weeks as we kind of get this ball rolling. And so, as much as we've talked about, missing baseball and sports and stuff like that, what we're trying to do is kind of fill that void for you guys so you can kind of, get some sort of sports, even though it's virtual. It's still better than
Nothing.
doing nothing. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We're really excited to be rolling that out here. We'll probably start up pretty soon. I do want to mention we're sitting, I think, right now at 16 people. If you're someone that you think this might be something that interests you, we do still have 4 spots open in the league. Either drop something down in the comments below, hit me or Robbie up on Twitter, or just the Chalk Talk Nation account. Let us know, and we can for sure try and get you in there.
Yeah, and the only requirements are you can't just rage quit. I mean, you have to take the loss. If you don't play well, you have to take the loss. You have to play the game because playoffs can come down to run differential. So you have to be able to play out the games. And also, you have to be frequently on the game. We'd like to have, that way we can just play the games. It'll be a 3-game series with all the teams. So it'll go on for a while, but 8 teams will make the playoffs, I think. And but yeah, so going back to the whole people streaming, so we can do like multi-view streams. So you could see 4 streams at once, perhaps, maybe even 5, I don't know, at one time, which is pretty cool. So you can really get your baseball fix. So if there's like a little dead point in one game and you see someone is in the 9th inning in another game, you can tune in. It's just like MLB.TV. It really is. It's just virtual. And, people are still going to be making trades, which will be cool. Blockbuster, blockbuster trades. And it's going to be really, really unique, really something that people, I think, will like. So, yeah. Anything else on that?
No, not as far as that goes. You want to get into some of the other content we're going to have as far as videos for the show? I know we talked a lot about the online leagues. I'll let you talk a little bit about Road to the Show since we kicked that off with the first episode.
Yeah, so what's up, Even TV? Thank you. Yeah, it does sound dope, right? Hey, if you're interested in joining, just let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. But my thing, so here's what's going on with Chalk Talk Nation on Twitch and when we stream. So Noah is a huge franchise player. He's been like this for a couple years now, and for me, I like Diamond Dynasty, but I really like the story. I like the starting through the minors and everything like that with Road to the Show. And so I think it'll be unique to have Noah do franchise, and I'll let him talk a little bit about that. But Road to the Show, I wanted to pick a character because, there's other streamers out there that, just play Road to the Show, whatever. But with the guy we've created, there's going to be a storyline. There's going to be reasons why, and it's going to keep you engaged, right? So we kind of intertwine GTA 5 into it as well. So our character's name is Vinny Perazzo. And if you haven't seen the first episode yet, you need to go to our YouTube channel and check it out. And we're going to be uploading videos probably weekly. We want it to be a weekly thing, right? Because I want everyone to really dial in. And it's going to be so unique because there's going to be a storyline. You don't know what's going to happen. So that's just something to be looking out for. And that's just one thing I'll be doing. And Noah, do you want to... Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. The mic cut out. Do you want to talk a little bit about franchise, what you plan on doing?
Yeah, so I will come right out and say I don't have a team picked yet, but basically the plan is going to be, I might stream what would be like the first episode, kind of do more of like a team, like an overview type of thing, walk through kind of what I'm seeing from like whatever team I end up choosing, walk through different positions, guys that I might think about moving somewhere down the line, prospects to kind of look out for, that kind of thing. My goal is to get a capture card and then, record the gameplay and kind of edit it and turn them into like actual episodes for the YouTube channel. But another thing that I might do as well, this is kind of a little bit up in the air. If you don't mind, kind of comment, let me know what you think about this, is that I might stream some of the games like from the actual like season. So I might do just like, hey, I'm going to be on for an hour and I'm going to play, let's just say, for example, I choose like the Pirates or something, and I do, hey, we're doing a big matchup between the Pirates and the Reds today, something like that. So, but I do need you guys' help because I'm not sure who I want to do yet. I know it's going to be a rebuild type of thing, but I want your guys' input because, this is something that, we've said it before. This is something that we're kind of in together as for this channel. We're all Chalk Talk Nation, to be kind of corny with it, but we're here for you. We want the content that you guys want to see. So if you don't mind, you can either comment down below or tweet something at us, but let us know like what team you might want to see for the franchise.
Yeah, because maybe you do just want to see Noah just win 120 games with the Dodgers, right? If you want the Dodgers, he'll play as the Dodgers. If you want him to be the Orioles or the Marlins and rebuild, he'll be the Orioles or Marlins. So there's a lot, and that's why we love doing what we do, because this is all about the community. It's all about bringing you guys in. You're getting that parasocial interaction. You want to feel like you're there with us through this emotional journey of a franchise or Road to the Show or Diamond Dynasty. Diamond Dynasty streams, we usually do those, at least I do those almost every day, usually around nighttime and whatnot. But yeah, man, I mean, it's exciting stuff. It really is. It really is. Any final thoughts?
No, I think we've about covered it. Just, everybody stay healthy. We'd appreciate we'd appreciate the feedback as far as like this stuff goes. Like, obviously go watch the first Vinny Road to the Show video. Tell us what you liked or didn't like about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Same thing with the podcast. If there's something you guys want to see us talk about, especially now that we're kind of in this time where there's not really a whole lot going on, maybe we do something like, if you want us to talk about who we think like a top 5 or 10 at some position is, or something like that, or who we think MVP guys would be this year, just let us know in the comments about any of this kind of stuff, and I'm sure we'd be more than happy to talk about it. Obviously we're making this content for you guys, so.
No, absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth. I couldn't agree more. But I do have a question for you, Noah.
Okay.
And a question for those in the chat. If you want to answer, go ahead and participate. So my question is, if you could go back to a Major League Baseball moment that you experienced, if you could go back in time, what would it be and why?
Is this something to go back in time to experience?
Like that you experienced. Like, what was your favorite? Okay, what was your favorite baseball moment? I should say that's so much easier. What was your favorite MLB moment? And like, if you could go back to experience it, what would it be?
Okay, for me, off the top of the head, maybe I'm missing something else. But obviously, you didn't prep me with this question, so this is.
I don't want it to be off the dome.
Yeah, so for me, I think that, and the 2015, the All-Star game was in Cincinnati.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. And
that year, for my birthday, my parents bought season tickets. That way we could get All-Star game and Home Run Derby tickets, stuff like that. And I was there the night that Todd Frazier won the Home Run Derby. And that last round was the most electric building and atmosphere that I've ever been in my life. And so I think for me, that'd probably be what if I could pick to go back to something, I think it'd be that.
Nice. That's a really good one. I remember I was at Norris Lake in Tennessee. We were watching on TV, and we went nuts. Like, that was the greatest thing that happened in the city of Cincinnati since the 1990 World Series. Seriously, like, because we finally won something, and it was on national TV. So that was pretty cool. Dude, for me, like, no joke, I'm torn between two moments, and both of them involve Derek Jeter. I'm just going to say two out there because it was just incredible. The 3,000th hit, that was incredible. Like the home run off David Price. That was awesome. But my favorite one that I wish I could just rewatch again was Jeter's final home game when he hit the walk-off against the Orioles in the bottom of the 9th. Like, what a better curtain call than that. Like, I got goosebumps. Him just going out there, saluting the fans and stuff like that. Like, dude, there is nothing like that, man. That was incredible.
Well, okay. Maybe I misinterpreted your question.
That's the exact.
Well, I want to add another answer as well then, because I didn't know this could be stuff that we could that we had watched as well. Like, I thought you meant like actually be there. So I will add, and this is another Reds thing, but 2010 Jay Bruce walk-off home run for clinch miss. And I think that,
Clinch miss.
talk about how electric it was when Todd Frazier won a home run derby. But, when we clinched a division for the first time in years, and just Jay Bruce is on a walk-off to do it too. Like, I'm sure the atmosphere in the stadium would have been just insane. And I'm sure like all of Cincinnati collectively just went nuts.
I'm surprised nobody rioted. Like there wasn't a riot or something, because I mean that was insane. But yeah, that's a good one too. I knew they were both going to be about Cincinnati, but whatever. Yeah, so I think that's going to be it for the podcast tonight. It's going to be short. We're going to try and get it to around 45 minutes, no more than an hour. We're really going to try and narrow it down. But be sure to follow us at Chalk Talk Nation on Twitter. Follow us on Twitch. The link is actually in the YouTube description if you're on YouTube. You can search Chalk Talk Nation, all one word. Give us a follow on there, because that's where we stream. Be sure to turn on the notifications. Subscribe if you're on YouTube. Any other final thoughts before we end the podcast?
I think you covered it. Just everyone stay safe and healthy.
Yep. All right. Well, next Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Be ready for the next podcast, and we'll see you soon.